Hello everyone and welcome to JB's Total Gaming, where today I will be looking at 3 different roguelite games. So I tend to go through streaks of games recently where I get really into something. So I was getting into like Diablo sort of clones recently, and I did a video on some of those that I had played comparing them, and people seem to appreciate that. So right now it is roguelite games where you go into randomly generated dungeons. You probably die a lot, and you try again. So, those are the ones that I've been into lately, so I'm going to do a video comparing 3 of the ones that I've played recently. I have done more in-depth videos for each of these, but I figured I'd just do a quick comparison as I try to talk and get killed in Ziggurat. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is Ziggurat. So it is a first-person shooter, obviously, but what's a little different about this game? You see how fast I'm moving here? Yeah, this is an old-school first-person shooter. It plays like older games that move very fast, and there are no regenerating health at all. So if you want to get more health, you might get it from a random drop from minions or things like that. So I just got the portal key so that I can fight the boss if I come across that. So as you can see up in the upper left, there are a bunch of rooms, whatever. Some of them are trap rooms. There's all different kinds of things. But basically, did you like old school Doom, like Quake and things like that? Well, then this may be the game for you. It definitely has some pros. For one thing, you start the game with 2 weapons, and each of them has a primary attack and then a secondary attack. Like this secondary attack has this broader stroke here. I've got a quick firing, or like kind of a burst fire with my primary weapon. The primary weapon is the same. You have 3 other weapon slots and mana pools for each of those slots. Your main weapon recharges over time. The other one you need to fill up basically in order to get more. But as you play the game, basically you're gonna be hopefully finding more and more weapons like a lot of these other games. But one nice thing about this game is you start with 2, and each one has a primary and alternate fire. So the first level is much more interesting and, fast-paced and frantic and just fun than a lot of these other roguelite games, where the first level, you might start with just 1 weapon. Everything is very basic until you find some interesting things. So that is definitely a strength of Ziggurat. So what about some cons? Well, this game may have the least amount of variability. Oh, this is a trap room. Okay, yeah, not really paying attention. Variability in the runs. There are definitely different rooms and things you'll come across. That's not what I mean. What I am talking about is that while there are multiple different weapons you can get in your other weapon slots, you still only have so many weapons you might find throughout the game. You're going to be seeing the weapons over and over again. As you level up, you will get linear upgrade choices, which is cool, okay? And you'll unlock more as you go, but one run is not going to be as different as other runs in this game as it might be in some games out there. Who is this game for? So this is the boss. We don't want to summon the boss just yet. If you like those old school first-person shooters that were fast-paced and challenging and circle strafing and all that jazz, then you will probably enjoy this, as it certainly offers that style of gameplay in a more modern game, which is cool. And like I said, it does offer a lot of fun on the first level, but as you play it more and more, you're basically going to see everything quicker than some of these other games. Like I said, I'm not going to focus on playing well here. We're probably going to move on to the next game. But that's kind of what I think you're looking at in Ziggurat. Fast-paced from the very beginning, which is fantastic, but maybe not as much to see. But if you like that fast-paced first-person shooter, then I think you will enjoy this game quite a bit. Now, I do want to mention, as I enter the Gungeon, that there are several different games that I might like to talk about that I'm not going to talk about right now. One is The Binding of Isaac. Why? Well, The Binding of Isaac is pretty ubiquitous. Most people seem to already know what's going on with that. And I might be comparing Isaac in particular to Gungeon. Now, another game I'm going to mention just because I don't have it, but another recent game in this kind of genre that is out now that seems to be getting good reviews is Forced Showdown. Now, I am too small of a channel, I don't have a press account, I don't get games to try for free, so I can only get so many games. If I had a press account or the ability to request games for a review, I would probably request that game. Forced Showdown is going to play a little bit more like Flame Break that we're going to try out in a minute here. Kind of a top-down game with a really pretty cool art style, almost kind of Running Man-like, being forced into a showdown where you're fighting against bad guys, but there's a card-playing element where, like, each stage you go into, you get more mana, and then you can play cards and keep effects that you've played previously and get further and further into the dungeon. But, speaking of dungeons, let's talk about Gungeon here. So Gungeon plays a lot like Isaac or Nuclear Throne. If you have played that, you're going to be roaming around killing stuff. There are some differences, though. You have a dodge roll, which is pretty nice. And while there are definitely items in the game, both active and passive, the focus is definitely on guns. I believe there are over 200 guns in the game, which is pretty cool. So, what does the game do well? Well, for one thing, you could say this game focuses a lot on skill. So playing a game like Isaac, you might get certain item sets in a run that make the run really easy. Then again, you might just have a lot of bad luck and get terrible item sets. This game has that. You, to an extent, you might get a really cool gun early, great, or you might not get a gun for a while, and that can be a bit of a problem. And one of the things that I said that was positive about Ziggurat is the game starts off the bat with 2 weapons. They're both viable and cool, and that is great. Whereas in this, it might be a while. You might not even get a weapon on the first floor depending on what happens. You might not have enough money to get one at the shop. The shop might not have one. There might only be one chest that you're able to open, and it might have a passive item. It might be a while before you get another cool gun, and some of the guns really are kind of garbage. So, you do have that variability. But I do overall think this game is more based on skill. You're not going to have, you have little cool things like being able to flip tables. You also have these blanks that clear the screen. You only start with 2 of them. You can get some more throughout the game that kind of clear all the bullets on the screen. It's kind of a quick save because this game does play a little bit like a bullet hell in some ways. Now, so you could say the game is a little bit more based on skill because, let's go ahead and check out our shop while we're here. Because while there is certainly variability, a boomerang? 65, wow. More keys, hearts, okay. There is, skill can still carry you in this, even if it's a while before you get a better gun. Between the dodge rolls and the other cool things that you can do, this game definitely allows you to play with a bad set a little bit easier. If you get lucky and get some good stuff, great. So what are some negatives about the game? I do want to mention as another positive too, the game does have co-op. It is only local co-op, but still the fact that, you can, oh boy, okay. You can have one person play as one particular character, and, if, oh my gosh, I didn't even see what hit me there. Alright. Okay, trying to talk and play a game that I'm very bad at. So, if you are playing in co-op, if somebody dies, I believe you have to kill a boss or maybe open a chest, I'm not sure, in order to come back, but it does have that option, it's kind of cool. The negatives I'm going to say are fairly subjective. So, and I'm also going to get into what is this? Alright, so I do love the Ammonomicon, it's actually a positive. When you get an item, you can see what it is. So what do you do? Health increased. Alright, great. So, oh, that is pretty cool. But, if you like Isaac, you like Nuclear Throne, and you're looking for something, that either has a little bit of lighter theme like this game does, or it does have teleport, which is super nice. Also, if you're looking for something that adds some new wrinkles like the dodge rolls, like the blanks that allow you to clear the screen, then, I was not paying attention. Okay. Then this game definitely has some cool new wrinkles. However, if you are kind of tired of those, I don't know if this game is going to offer you enough that is going to change your mind that you're going to be playing that style of game again. There are certainly some differences. Oh my gosh, pay attention. But whether or not those wrinkles are going to be enough for you if you've gotten kind of tired of that gameplay, again, is going to be totally up to you. Now, another thing that could be positive or negative subjectively is the theme. I kind of love the theme that everything is guns, and I mean literally everything is guns and bullets, and they actually do a pretty good job with it. But if that's something that you think would be kind of boring, then maybe it's not for you. So I thought I would jump back in real quick though. We just got our first gun of this game, and it's one I haven't seen yet, and here we have the Bullet Twins coming out. And this is the first level boss we came across. And yeah, this gun is the silencer. And yes, it is a pillow. Alright, the last gun we'll be taking a look at today is Flamebreak. So Flamebreak has, different custom modes and dailies and things like that. And this is a game that is kind of a top-down action game. So while the first game was a top-down, or the first game was a traditional first-person shooter, then we had a top-down shooter, now we have a top-down action game. And in this game, the combat plays a bit more like a MOBA. So if we look at the bottom of my screen, we can see the different abilities that I have, and then when I trigger them, basically that ability is no longer active until its cooldown triggers. And then it's going to start off pretty simple. We have towns where we can buy items and different things along the way, so this is a little overworld map, and then as we go through, let's go ahead and check out a town. Let's see here. I don't know. Let's go with this one. And then we'll get a health potion while we're here too. So it plays a little bit more RPG-like. The strategy is a little bit more of a, or the gameplay is a little bit more MOBA-like, where you have these cooldown abilities. So what are the pros about this game? Well, this game has a ton of variability. You have different races. Those races all have stats that come with and one special ability. But as you play the game more, you unlock more and more things, and you have two different abilities that are randomly chosen for each class and a weapon that's randomly chosen for each class. So a ton of variability as you play. There's also a lot of systems in this game. You can collect sets of armor, you can collect sets of jewelry, you can collect, you can get favor of certain gods or displease gods and things like that. There's just a ton of stuff that you can do in this game. So, what are some cons about it? Some people don't particularly like the art style. I don't hate it, but I get what those people are saying, and I would actually agree with them a little bit. The art style is probably one of my least favorite things about the game. Now, I don't think it's bad per se, but like I said, probably just one of my least favorite things. Now, the gameplay-wise, there are going to be some subjective things. If you don't like that idea of like MOBA or Dota, whatever style combat with the cooldowns and that, you'd rather play a shooter, that's more that style and fast-paced in that way, then that's fine. You may not like the smaller arenas where you just move on and on. Yeah, like this item has favor with one of the gods, and for every 10 favor you get special bonuses. There's one of the little touches in the game. And there's overworld items and things like that you can use. So a lot of different systems available, definitely. And then, a lot of those issues as to if you are going to, I don't want to shoot the shrine, things that you may or may not like, it's going to depend, entirely on you. Personally, this is my favorite of the three that I've talked about. Now, part of the thing I do want to make clear about that is I'm not a fantastic gamer. I'm better at board games than video games. Not to say that I'm great at board games, but if you ever want to watch my stream, you can see just how bad I am at video games. Excuse me. So, with this, this is the only one I've ever beat out of the three. I did only beat it on one of the daily challenges, so I had a setup with things that I normally wouldn't have in the game, so that I'm sure made a difference. But overall, I really like this style of gameplay. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting to have these abilities. I kind of like the less shooter, more RPG action style of this, but that is going to be subjective, up to you. So who is this for? Well, that's what I'm going to say. If this idea of these super fast, circle strafing Twitch shooters or top-down, having to dodge roll and use your abilities at the right time to get out of the way and things like that, if that's the sort of gameplay that suits you, I went right into that trap, then great. If you are more of the kind of RPG style of combat, then maybe this one is actually going to suit you better. I know that it personally suits me pretty well. I enjoy all three of the games. I don't recommend any of them, But if the more RPG feel combat is something that you think would interest you more, then this is the one that I would suggest picking up. Oh yeah, more health? Definitely. Let's get that. So overall, like I said, I've done videos about each of these games individually. If you want to check them out, here's a little mini game where we have to defend our gold from goblins. And if you want to see, in more detail, then you can check that out. But like I said, just comparing the 3 games, I tried to give you an idea of the pros and the cons of each game and who might like them. Hopefully this was useful to you guys. Like I said, you might also want to check out Force Showdown if the idea of, roguelite games like this is something that interests you. And if you enjoyed, guys, please like, share, subscribe, whatever, and we'll be back to talk to you guys again soon. And I will get going as soon as I finish. There we go. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll talk to you guys again soon.